All right, and nice and cleaned off. Okay.
You do that well.
Yes, so we're playing with iodine to make sure that we don't let any bacteria into the pump. So we're going to be filling the pump, which is under the skin, with the baclofen. So we enter the pump with a small needle. After we get a nice clean spot here. All right. And I'm going to put a sterile drape over top. So that again, everything stays clean, nice and clean right within that area. All right, so hang tight a moment. I'm going to draw up my medication here.
This will be good for Kenny to see too.
Yeah.
So you get to see that stuff. A lot of people hear me about getting back from home filled and
Yeah.
they have no idea what it means.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a place for continued education. That's fine. Just rip it off. Yeah. With the pumps, it's really great for spasticity, obviously. But spasticity that comes from spinal cord injuries, spasticity that comes from brain injuries, sometimes people with MS or cerebral palsy. Okay.
I know when I heard about Baclofen pump and any kind of medical stuff that I'm gonna have done or think about doing, I always YouTube it and do research. So it's cool to see something actually done.
That's great. Yeah, I think with any procedure, it's very hard if you can't see it, if you're a visual person,
Right.
to be able to know what it means and what really entails. All right, so let me just get a couple things ready over here. All right, so next I have to remove everything from the pump. So I have a little template here that usually helps me guide where to go. So I'm just feeling around for your pump again, now that it's all clean. So depending on the dose that you use, depends how quickly you run out of medication. So Aaron, you and I have talked, you're on a higher dose.
Mm-hmm.
So you get your pump refilled fairly frequently.
Like every month.
About every month, every 4 or 5 weeks. Some people can last several months. Sometimes even up to 6 months, depending on the dose.
Oh, wow.
I used to be a lot longer and then
Yeah.
keep increasing it.
Alright, so next it's going to be a small pinch while we try to go into the pump to remove all of the old medication.
You can get closer now.
Yeah, I can see.
Alright, so I think we went in there. There we go. So now we're pulling out all of the old medication. So every time we refill the pump, we remove everything that's already in the pump. And that helps me confirm what should be in there. So I know that there should be about 6 mLs, which is what I'm taking out now. And then it helps me to confirm that my needle's in the pump. So the medication is a nice clear fluid. It's coming out. That looks great. Give you a little clamp. Let's see and then I add an extra filter because you can never be too clean with these types of procedures. And then we refill the medication. So the medication all goes into the pump, which is underneath the skin, and there's a catheter that's going to your spine, which is why we need to be extra clean to prevent bacteria. We don't want any bacteria going into the pump because that could go to the spine. That's very rare that would happen as long as we follow appropriate protocols. So now your medication's going in. We have an extra filter so that if there were, by any chance, any bacteria in this syringe, it would be filtered out.
Knock on wood.
That's right.
Many times I've gotten this done, I've never had an infection.
Yes. Thankfully. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Erin, can you feel anything that she's doing?
No. I can feel a little bit of a pinch when she does it, but nothing that hurts or...
Okay. And the pump that's in there is metal, right?
It is metal, yep. There's a couple different types of pumps, but this particular pump is metal and it comes in two sizes. So there's a 20 ml and a 40 ml, depending on how much medication a person might need. This particular pump is MRI compatible, so
Okay.
you can have MRIs. It usually turns off momentarily during the MRI, but then turns itself back on. So there's nothing that a person would have to do special if they were getting an MRI.
Okay.
It also has a built-in alarm system that we program so that ideally, again, knock on wood, but ideally, if there were a complication with the pump, an alarm would go off.
And I've heard it's beeped before. My stomach beeps.
That's scary. That's creepy.
It's weird.
Kind of a crazy sound. All right, you have the bigger pump, so I'm going to clamp, take this off, and exchange.
So I have the 40 ml.
You have the 40, the bigger one, that's correct.
And also, how often does that pump need to be changed?
Usually about every 7 years, 5 to 7 years.
Really?
Yep, for battery life. There are some other pumps that may last a little bit longer, but usually about 7 years is pretty average. And the catheter does not always need replaced. For some people it does, the catheter that goes into the spinal fluid, but not all the time. So most often we'll just replace the pump that's under the skin here.
Okay.
I'm excited to have that done. I forget what that was, but it
You
was
had it done about a year ago, replaced.
outpatient surgery, right?
Yep, usually outpatient, usually you get to go home the same day. Small incision here in the abdomen. And the pump, remember, is only in the fatty tissue. So it's not deeper into your stomach or abdominal contents at all.
Can you explain why you keep pulling back and then pushing more in?
Yeah, so I'm just pushing really slowly here because we're putting a large volume into the pump here. And every once in a while I just pull back and make sure that I am still where I need to be so that I'm getting fluid back out. We want to make sure, of course, that the medication is going into the pump and not the skin and the fatty tissue around the pump, which again is rare, but something that we take precautions to prevent. So you're almost done. So after this, I will take the needle out, I'll get you all cleaned up, and then we have to reprogram your pump. Because right now the pump thinks it's almost empty, because when you came here it was almost empty. And we have to tell the pump and reprogram it that now it's full. And then it'll give us an alarm date, which is the date that you need to come back and have your refill done before that date. Okay?
So you fill it, it's
Needle's
40,
coming out.
40 cc,
You got it.
and there's only 6 left.
That's correct. You got it. All right, I'm gonna get you a little cleaned up here. There's always 2 needles in your hand. Just watch out there. Thank you for being a helper. All right, I'm gonna get you cleaned off because iodine stains. Certainly don't want to stain anything here. See there's usually any bleeding, it's just a small little incision there from that needle, yep. And then there's always a small little Band-Aid, I've got one here, that I will cover, just to keep it protected because it is going into the pump. It should close on its own in a day or so you can take that Band-Aid off later today. Clean off the rest of your iodine here. And that's the refill, okay? Next time you're gonna tell us how to do it. You know the drill.
I got it.
Alright, so now I'm gonna reprogram, so that's what it looks like now that we're all done here. Thank you much. Give me that one.
Alright. Do you need me any further?
Nope, but I'll reprogram and then I'll get out of the way here. Alright, so I have already adjusted your pump to say that it is full. The dosing. You want me to play the alarms for you?
Sure.
Alright. So give me a minute, let me actually update it and then I'll play the alarms for you.
So in that glove, you have your little.
Yeah, so this
remote
is the Enteric
sort of thing.
Yep. We just like to be clean. This is just a clean glove that I've put over top so that I don't contaminate anything here.
I just didn't want them to think you're putting just a glove
Just a
on
glove,
his belly.
right?
It's a magical love.
So this is the device where I program everything in as far as his dose. All right, so give us a few moments. It's sending everything over. And with Aaron, we've been working on what's called flex dosing. So rather than getting the same dose throughout 24 hours, there are times when he may get a little bit more and a little bit less. And so it can be programmed depending on your specific spasticity pattern, which is really nice.
Do you think we should increase it at all? It's not so bad.
I don't think so today, just because of some of the other things we talked about earlier. Yeah, but we can potentially do that next time. All right, let me see if I can get your alarms here.
It's gonna alarm in my stomach.
Yep.
Is that in my belly?
That's crazy.
Yep, I'll play it one more time. So this is the critical alarm. So that's what I like to call the ambulance alarm. Do, 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 do,
Is that
do.
just call an ambulance?
Call an
Yeah.
ambulance, right. That means the pump has stopped working. It's a critical event. The other alarm is what we call the non-critical. Still important, and still something that you absolutely need to notify your pump team about. It may be your alarm that it's time for a refill, or
Get low.
some other event, correct. Maybe the battery could be low, your time for replacement there. So let me play that sound.
It's just a steady beat.
Yep, so that's just a one-time beep.
Crazy.
You know, I never knew that.
So I think it's important to always play those so you know what they sound like, because people oftentimes come in, want something bad has happened with the pump, and they may say, well, I thought I heard something, thought maybe it was a watch or a clock.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know. Usually something you don't have to be worried about, because it's very rare that it would happen as long as you continue to come to your appointments on time,
Yeah.
so that you don't miss a refill. All right, you're all done.
Alright.
All right.
All right, I'm going to turn this off.
Alright.